the coldness in his gaze, a fleeting shadow that vanished before she could comprehend it. Her heart raced as their eyes met. This time there was no barrier. She sensed his power, the raw, untamed energy radiating from him like heat from a forge. The silence stretched, taut and heavy, as she stood frozen, linens clutched against her chest like a protective talisman. A pulse of primal fear gripped her. What did he want? The Alpha King stepped closer, his movement fluid yet predatory, a wolf stalking its prey. She noticed the way the light caught the scar on his cheek, an emblem of battles fought and won. His expression shifted from annoyance to intrigue as he studied her, a glimmer of something she dared not name flashing in his gray eyes. Eloine swallowed hard, her voice lost in the tumult of her thoughts. Every instinct screamed at her to flee, yet her feet remained rooted to the floor. He was a force of nature, and she was merely a leaf. Why have you come? His voice was like thunder, low and commanding, reverberating through the vastness of the room. The words didn't carry the softness she expected from a king. They were sharp, demanding clarity. Eloine could hardly form a response. She blinked, willing her mouth to move, to utter the scripted apologies she had rehearsed in her mind. But the gravity of his presence rendered her mute. The air crackled with tension, and every moment felt interminable as she searched for the strength to speak. I brought the linens, my king, she finally managed, her voice barely a whisper, quaking with nerves. The cold, calculating gaze of the Alpha King bore into her, and for a moment she feared he would deny her very existence. Instead, he stepped aside, motioning for her to enter. The world outside faded away as she crossed the threshold, drawn into the sanctum of the king's private life. A space filled with whispers of power and secrets yet untold. As she placed the linens on the desk, she caught sight of a sprawling tapestry depicting the history of Valdrin, its intricate patterns telling stories of glory and slaughter, of wolves who dared to rise and fall beneath the weight of their ambition. The imagery struck a chord deep within her, resonating with her own fears, her own desires. Eloine's hands trembled, and a single thread of courage pulled her thoughts together. This fortress was more than stone. It was a creature alive, with emotions and expectations. Do you know of the legends surrounding this castle? Kale's voice sliced through the silence, pulling her from her reverie. She shook her head, her throat dry as she took in his towering figure. He advanced, his presence overwhelming. They speak of a curse, of power that corrupts even the noblest of hearts. His words hung like fog in the air, thick with foreboding. Eloine shivered, the shadows creeping closer, wrapping around her like a shroud. Did he believe in legends? Or was this just another game the Alpha played with his servants? Does it frighten you? He pressed, his eyes narrowing with curiosity. Eloine faltered, caught between the instinct to reveal her fear and the desperate need to remain invisible. No, my king, she managed, though the lie felt like a stone lodged in her throat. The Alpha King leaned closer, examining her with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. Lies do not sit well with me, little maid. You may want to remember that. With that, he stepped back, the moment breaking like a wave crashing against a rocky shore. A veil of tension lifted, yet the air remained charged with unspoken words. The Alpha turned toward the window, leaving her to ponder his parting words. Eloine stole a glance at his profile, the clenched jaw and the way his fingers brushed against the edge of the windowsill, revealing a glimpse of the vulnerabilities hidden beneath his stoic exterior. Days passed, each one a repetition of fear and courage intermingled. Eloine continued her tasks under the watchful eyes of the other servants and guards. Marin's words echoed in her mind. She kept her head down, did not speak unless spoken to, and never crossed the invisible line drawn at the Alpha's chambers. Yet each night, she lay awake, the haunting echo of his voice and the weight of their secret pressing down on her heart like a stone. Then, on a day steeped in a strange, unshakable tension, news spread like wildfire through the fortress. A rival pack had breached the eastern border, their intent unknown yet undeniably threatening. Panic rippled through the halls of Valdrin, a beast stirring from slumber. Eloine felt that familiar mix of fear and intrigue, an unsettling thrill swirling within her. What consequences would this bring? Would the secrets she held still matter when kingdoms were at stake? As the War Council convened once more, the heavy doors of the Great Hall swung open. Eloine's heart raced as she slipped inside, hidden behind the towering pillars. The air was thick with hostility, each wolf poised for battle as they awaited the Alpha's orders. Kale entered, embodying a tempest with his beta at his side. He stood tall and unwavering, radiating power and command. His presence commanded silence, 1,000 wolves bowing to his will, yet alone saw the tension in his stance, the flicker of uncertainty clouding his gaze. "Prepare for war," he stated, each word laced with the weight of responsibility. "We will protect what is ours." The tension snapped tight, a taut bowstring ready to release. Alone's breath caught in her throat. This was not just an order, it was a declaration, a promise to a realm steeped in danger. She felt the gravity of his words, intermingling with her own fears. What would happen if the Alpha fell? What darkness would spill over Valdrin? But in the chaos that followed, as the wolves gathered in urgency, one thought surged above the rest. The enemy would not just threaten the castle, they would threaten the fragile balance of secrets that bound her to the Alpha King. As the meeting adjourned and the pack dispersed, Alone stood, heart-pounding, contemplating her next move. To remain in silence was to remain complicit in a dangerous game, yet to speak could shatter everything she had worked to protect. In that moment of choice, a new resolve ignited within her, a flicker of defiance against the shadows that loomed large. Her journey was no longer about survival. It was about understanding the man behind the title, the secrets woven into the fabric of Valdrin, and the destiny that bound them both together, amidst a world on the brink of collapse. The time to act was drawing near, and she would not falter. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of fiery crimson, she took a deep breath and made her way to the Alpha's study once more. Her heart thundered in her chest, each step a tiny rebellion against fear. Standing before the door, she knocked with purpose, ready to embrace whatever fate awaited her behind those walls. The future of Valdrin had begun to intertwine with her own, and Alone Ashford would not shy away from her role in the unfolding tale. In the silence that followed, she felt the weight of the world upon her shoulders, yet knew she must rise to meet it. If she was going to survive 3 months, she would need to forge a path far beyond the simple tasks of a chambermaid. It was time to shape her destiny in the shadows of Valdrin, and perhaps in doing so, she would uncover truths that could change everything. As the door swung open, revealing the Alpha King standing at his desk, a calculated intensity in his gaze, Aloyne stepped inside, unwavering. "My king," she breathed, ready to traverse the treacherous dance of power, secrets, and survival. In this fortress of stone and shadows, the real battle had joined Aloyne on her journey through the heart of Valdrin, where secrets unravel and destinies collide. The fate of a kingdom and the life she fights to protect hangs in the balance. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow for more thrilling tales where courage meets the unknown. In this realm, every choice could ignite a spark that changes everything. Will you dare to join her?